Hi everyone, this is Darrell Lonnie with the head women's basketball coach here at Western Oregon, Greg Bruce. And we're going to talk tournament basketball. This past weekend, of course, the Western Oregon University Phoenix Inn D2 Shootout took place. Coach, you had two games. We'll start with the disappointment, and that was your opening game. To tell our listeners and viewers about that game and about your team's loss.
Well, we played Cal State Monterey Bay in the opener. We played them last year on a neutral floor and won by like 14 or 15. But they have a young coach who does a really good job, and she brought in 10 new players, and they're much improved over last year. Their starting point guard didn't even play in the tournament, which people may not realize, and she's a really good player. We did not play well early on, especially the first half. Second half, we made a little bit of a run at them a couple different times. We got more excited and played a little harder, but we unfortunately played how we practiced last week. We played Portland State, and back up a little bit. We played them last Monday, Division I school on the road, the team favored to win the Big Sky, and played really well against Portland State. I think it was a 6-point game with like 8 minutes to go. We ended up losing by 12 or something, and I thought that would help us carry us into this tournament. And Tuesday we had a decent practice, but Wednesday and Thursday we just did not come out to practice well, and I was worried about that leading into the Monterey Bay game. And sure enough, sometimes you say you play as you practice, and we did. Unfortunately, disappointing loss, because I thought we could have or should have won that game. We just didn't have any consistent effort to begin with. We were flat. You know, they had a 13 or 14 point lead at half, and we just couldn't make it up. We made some runs at them, couldn't make it up in the second half. So then we go to the next game. If you don't mind me, go ahead and talk about the Mesa State game the next day. Mesa gives Northwest Nazarene a pretty good run the day before. They play a matchup zone, which we really haven't worked against. So I'm worried about game two. And I think the girls, their pride was hurt a little bit because we didn't play well on Friday. They came out Saturday morning. We had kind of a mini practice, believe it or not. We worked on the half court, the matchup zone for quite a while, and we were going to play a little zone ourselves. We probably worked for about 45 minutes to an hour. And I think the girls understood that, you know, you got to bring it every game against Division II competition. There's no easies, there's no freebies out there. You just got to show up. And you know, first half against Mesa State was more of the same. I mean, we played a lot better, but Mesa State was throwing things in. Number 14 for their team made some long three-pointers, and they even had to lead at halftime. But I was really encouraged by our second half. I believe the last 14 minutes and 32 seconds, we outscored them 28-9. They had one trip to the free throw line. They had one offensive rebound. We turned them over 11 times during that period of time, and they only shot 28%. So our defense won the game, along with our conditioning, because we played our starters a big number of games, or a big number of minutes in that game too, and we had some outstanding performances by 3 or 4 kids, and it was really good to see that, because we could have folded there as well, because there's a couple times Mesa made a run at us. In fact, we were down by 10, I think, with that 14:32 to go, and then we really nutted up and got the job done.
You took a couple timeouts, and I know you got into your team a little bit, at least on one occasion that I looked at. But you know, I talked a lot about, and you're saying the same thing, Greg. Your team out-toughed them down the stretch, the last 10 minutes. Your team said, you know, that's enough. We need to go win the game, and you got. And what I mean by out-tough, Coach knows, but for others, it's getting loose balls, getting to loose balls first. It's getting rebounds. It's denying the other team getting offensive rebounds. Things like that really helped your team.
No question, and that's kind of unusual for us. We haven't been known as a team that's going to out-tough many people, but we need to get that mentality. And Sarah Zoller, to mention the kid, she really played well during that stretch of time. She had a couple really good rebounds. Took a charge, made some three-pointers, but we got in passing lanes. Katie Torland made a steal and went the length of the floor and laid it up. That's what normally happens against us, and not something that we do. So we generated some offense off of our defense, which is what we started to do at the beginning of the season, in emphasizing defense, and hopefully we can carry that over now as we approach these next 2 games.
Your freshman guard, Hannah Whitsett, whom we've talked about, finally missed a free throw. Love her form, though. She's a good shooter, isn't she?
Hannah Whitsett she's a surprise, I'll be honest. We knew she was a pretty decent player out of Hermiston High School, but she may be, outside of Torland and Zoller, she may be our hardest worker day in and day out in practice. She thinks every shot she takes is going to go in. And as a shooter, that's a great mentality to have. And I don't care if she shoots it every time she catches it, as long as she's open, because I feel it's going to go in as well. And she does have great form. She works at it hard, and she's just a really good kid.
This is kind of a good time of the season, isn't it, for your young people? You're playing everybody now. You want to see everybody play. You want to get an idea of who can do what as you approach league play. So it's a good time for your young people to show what they can do.
It's exactly, and I'll be honest with you, Darryl, we play on Wednesday. This will be our 10th game of the season if you count our 3 exhibition games. We started practice October 15th. It's not even the end of November yet. And we'll play 10 games, and it's going to be nice. This is the first time in my coaching career, this is my 42nd team that I've coached.
Wow.
The first time that I have not had a game or been involved in a tournament over Thanksgiving in my entire career. We're going to send our players home. They're going to get to be with their families for 2 or 3 days, get away from basketball. I think that's going to do us all a world of good. The schedule we put together, that I put together, probably was a little bigger bite than we should have taken with so many freshmen and sophomores, but now that we're almost through it, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully it's going to help us as we get into the GNAC.
You know, I was going to say, I'm glad to hear that, because I know that would start to become a concern for you, that your team is playing too many games, too many minutes. You're going to wear everybody down by the time you hit the league season.
That's true. We got to take it easy. We have this game on Wednesday, then we don't play till a week from the Friday, and then we have another week off during finals. We come back and we play Division I team at home, Weber State, on the 14th of December. Then we have a tournament on the 19th and 20th. Those things start to space themselves out. We're going to have time to go back to the drawing board in terms of practices and get some fundamental work done that we kind of skipped over because of the schedule. It's just going to be good for everybody. I know the girls they're a little tired, but the fact they scrapped back on Saturday, that was a good sign. And I thought our conditioning was also a factor in that game. That Mesa State had a short bench, we had a longer bench, but we kind of went with the players that had been doing the job, and all of our starters played almost 30 minutes a game. So it was nice to see that we were able to condition and follow and finish that game like we did.
Coach, in this tournament, of course, you saw one of your league members play as you brought in Northwest Nazarene. What did you think of their play?
Well, you know, they've returned like 7 or 8 seniors from their team from last year, and they've always been really good. And they got 2 votes to win our league, and I believe they ended up 4th in the balloting for preseason league picks. I was surprised that they also lost to Cal State Monterey Bay. But, you know, I just told our girl, I said, hey, you know, we're right there. If we can just grow with this, and our freshmen can kind of, you know, get better quicker than you would like them to, I think we can be competitive, because, you know, we matched up very favorably with what Northwest Nazarene did in this tournament. They're a little bigger, and they're missing a point guard. They graduated. The only kid they lost off last year's team was their starting point guard. They're a little bit like us. They're having different people try to handle that position, and as you know, guards make teams a lot better. Good guards do, and I think we're both kind of in that identity crunch in terms of finding a player to do that for us.
Is your league off to a good start? The other conference teams, I know you're looking at scores.
Oh yeah, Seattle Pacific, Anchorage, Western Washington, they're all really solid. They've been pounding people. And Montana State Billings has not lost yet. St. Martin's has not lost yet. Fairbanks is struggling a little bit. They have a new coach, and they had a disaster with injuries last year. Central Washington has struggled a little bit, but the top teams are doing what we figured they would. And I won't be surprised, Darryl, when the season's over in the West region, the 8 teams selected. I'll be really surprised if we don't have 4 and/or 5 of the 8 teams from our league.
Wow, that'd be terrific. That's what you ask for, although it's a coach's nightmare, obviously, to have to coach against that. Let's close with this. We haven't mentioned Katie Torlin. I think we probably should mention Katie Torlin every time we sit down and talk. She does such a tremendous job for your team. And you and I were talking on the post-game Saturday. She scores 20-21 in this game. She could have easily been in the 30. She had some shots rim the basket, go around the hoop, etc.
Yeah, she even missed 2 free throws, which is uncharacteristic. But no, I don't know where we'd be without Katie. She's just solid. She can score from anywhere on the floor. She just has a presence about her. She's getting better on the defensive end. She's getting a little tougher. She's always been a decent rebounder, but now she's going to go get the ball. And as we mentioned in our article, this is her 6th straight consecutive all-tournament award over the last 2 years. And that shows a lot of consistency.
It does indeed. All right, Coach, thank you very much. That's the women's basketball coach here at Western Oregon, Greg Bruce.